44-10 is the final. Michigan gets it done today against Michigan State, Sam. I mean, it was an impressive win. I know Michigan State came out, got the early touchdown, but this Michigan defense shut it down. But I want to talk about this offense, led by quarterback Shea Patterson. Much maligned this year, a lot of critics of his play, but then he comes out here and plays the best game of his career. A career-high 384 yards passing, a very efficient day against the Spartans.
That was an ass whoop. A serious dose of act right, a curb stomping, whatever you want to call it. They broke their feet off collectively in Michigan State's behind. That's what you were looking for. I mean, it was a good old 2002 49-3 take Bobby Williams to the woodshed beat down. That's what you wanted to see Michigan be able to do against an overmatched team. And they did that today. So that was really, really good to see. But you're right. It was the best game of Shea Patterson's career. And while Jim Harbaugh, he called out and praised the entire team, there are two names that I think he mentioned more than all the rest, and rightfully so. Shea Patterson and Josh Gaddis. Now let's start off first talking about Josh Gaddis because, you know, a lot of talk about the offense going back to last year was never true. Was never true. You know, we even went back and looked at a lot of Alabama film, and you look at Alabama's, what they are schematically, and that's what you see Michigan doing a lot of the same stuff. They started out the season trying to do a ton. We've covered this ground before, I know, but it bears repeating. And then they realized they had to scale back because guys couldn't execute everything. So he scaled back, got into Rutgers, had a really watered down approach, and started building from there. Built the running game up, adding layers every week. You'll see bubbles one week, pin and pulls another week, right? You know, they break out a trap one week. I mean, different layers to the equation every single week. This was a masterpiece because he forced Michigan State's defense to defend the entire field, defend vertically, defend the width of the field, and he didn't use pin and pulls to do it. A lot of bubbles, heavy doses of bubbles today, bubbles and reverses to force him to defend the flanks, and then the RPO game was sublime. I mean, we saw 6 variations of RPOs in this game. That bluff RPO that he pulled out against Illinois, scored 2 touchdowns in this game. It hit a touchdown versus Illinois. It hit a touchdown versus Maryland. Very tough play to defend. It was a masterpiece by Josh Gaddis. Jim Harbaugh, after the game, said Josh Gaddis and his staff put together a terrific game plan. And it wasn't just the sheet that they mapped out. He said Josh even called out the adjustments that Michigan State was going to make. Right. And he said he had the predictions of the adjustments right almost every time. So he had Michigan State dialed up. And then once you do that, though, you got to have your players go out and execute it. And Shea Patterson was on the money. And it wasn't just, so good play calls can beat a defense, so bubbles and RPOs and all of that. But sometimes your guy just has to make a play. Mm-hmm. And how many times do we see Shea Patterson extend a play, find the guy down the field? It was like a 3rd and 14 on the first drive, 16 yards on 3rd and 14. Second drive, he scrambles, throws across his body to St. Ristel for a first down. On the touchdown drive, he scrambles, the second touchdown drive I think it was when they went up 14-7. He scrambles and he finds Ronnie Bell down the field for 18 yards. He was doing that all game long, and when the dust settled, 384 yards, I think Harbaugh said that it was 99 yards better than the next best Michigan quarterback versus Michigan State, and that just happened to be a guy named Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady's pretty good. I'll give him that. A great game by Patterson. One he'll remember. He said, hey, I wish I could play this team 2 more times, but he can end his career 2-0 against the Spartans. Not a lot of quarterbacks can say that. Moving on to that defense. We had mentioned earlier, they gave up the early touchdown and then really just shut the door on the Spartans. Lewerke really he was running for his life today. And we talked about pregame, he was going to have to be able to run the ball to be able to get the offense going. But he had no chance today.
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, don't give him the opportunity to look good against you. Because, look, Mark D'Antonio, it's almost like he's resigned to how limited he is by his quarterback. That's my impression I got from his press conference. Because there were some throws out there that he just flat missed. But Michigan made him look bad too. You had blanket coverage on the outside, so 2 Detroit guys came up with interceptions in Lavert Hill and Ambry Thomas, but it all starts up front. Aiden Hutchinson played his behind off today. Now his dad, Chris Hutchinson, who was always going back and forth with his son, who was a great defensive lineman at the University of Michigan, had 3 sacks in the game versus Michigan State. He said, man, you can't do what I did. Son, he says, matter of fact, if you get 3 sacks or more, I'll give you $50. So Aiden was in this game trying to get that 50. He didn't get the 3 sacks. Josh, I say pay the man. Get a man that money because he had a hell of a game. It may not have been a sack total, but how many pressures did he have? He snuffed out another screen. He forced the interception to Ambry Thomas. So, hey, Chris Hutchinson, you watching, give Aiden his money. I'm just saying, get a man his money. He earned it.
From an overall sentiment, Harbaugh said how happy he was with this win and how satisfied. And now he could say every one of his classes has a winning record against Michigan State. The fifth-year seniors are 3-2. The seniors are 3-1, and so forth. What does this win mean for Harbaugh? Obviously, now he has a winning record against one of his rivals.
Man, so you think about it, man. You know, the wins Michigan State that they have in this rivalry since Harbaugh's been here, been fluke. I mean, you got the block punt was an absolute fluke, and then you come out in the game here in 17, and your starting quarterback is out, and you can't complete a forward pass.
I was saying I'll give him the punt game.
Both of them. Stop it. If you got a quarterback that can complete a 10-yard pass, you beat him in 2017. That's as simple as that. Look at the other games though. Michigan in 16. And they win that game going away for the most part. The refs kind of made it closer than it really was. And then last year they got a 2-touchdown win up in their house. So, you know, for Harbaugh, this is an exclamation point. This is payback. This is Harbaugh saying, yeah, take that for breaking my arm in 1984. And this is him saying, yeah, for smack talking his wife. I don't know if you read, John Eubacon's book, Overtime, highly recommended. I guess they talked smack to his wife up in the press box after the game in 2015. So, you know, there's all of that in-state angst that's built up in this game. But seriously, though, this means a lot as you're trying to turn the corner down the stretch. You know, the build up to that final game. You know, can you take care of business in this game? Can you take an overmatched opponent and make them look like an overmatched opponent like we see Ohio State do all the time? And Michigan was able to do that today.
Well, hey, it was an impressive win. Michigan moves to 8-2 on the season. Big game at Indiana next week. And then, of course, we know the game is here in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for all our coverage and more on the MichiganInsider.com.